Coming up on City Spotlight, Season 8 continues, and we're talking education in Charleston. First, we'll get caught up on the latest going on at Eastern Illinois University with Dr. Eric Davidson, Executive Director of EIU Health and Counseling Services, and Josh Norman, Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management, about enrollment numbers for the current academic year at EIU, and how EIU is navigating through the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we talk Charleston Schools with Charleston Schools Superintendent Dr. Todd Vilardo and Assistant Superintendents Chad Burgett and Kristen Holly about the current school year in Charleston and how Charleston schools are educating during COVID-19. Plus, the latest physical changes in the Charleston School District. The focus is on education in Charleston. Next on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Hello and welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. As you can see, we are in the studios of WEIU, first time in a while, and we are continuing to tape here in Season 8. In this episode, we're going to focus all about education in Charleston. And in this first segment here in the studio, we're going to talk all about Eastern Illinois University. And to help me out, two familiar guests to my left. First of all, we have Dr. Eric Davidson, Executive Director of the EIU Health and Counseling Services. Eric, great to see you.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And on the far left, Josh Norman, Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management here at EIU. Josh, pleasure as always.
Great to be here, Rami.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on to talk a little bit about EIU here in this first part of this episode. We've had you guys on, maybe not together, but glad to have you on together, but appreciate your repeat appearance here on City Spotlight. Question for both of you to start, and we'll have Josh go first. What's something that you each take away from the last academic year moving into this year? What's something that you learned?
I think, one of the biggest negatives that I took away was just how much lack of community and isolation impacts our students. And I think, the pandemic created an environment that was suboptimal for student success, and so that really was something that'll stick with me, is like, how do we create inroads for community for our students? Because pandemic or not, it's an issue. It just amplified it for us this past year. And I think on a positive note, it's incredible how resilient and determined our campus community is. I think about our students. I think my University Foundations class, which was in person and simultaneously on Microsoft Teams for anyone who couldn't be there, it's probably my favorite class ever, because those students were just so hungry to be in person and to live out that college experience. And so I love that, and I think about our admissions counselors, and they did not have to be in the office, and they were there because they wanted to support those students and families. And so just major kudos to our campus community and just their resilience and their determination through a season that was difficult. And so those are my two biggest takeaways from this past year.
All right, thank you so much. Eric, your thoughts on the past academic year?
I think I would mirror the comment on resilience. I mean, how resilient our students are, and how quick they've been to adapt to an ever-changing environment. And I think the second takeaway is that, excuse me, Eastern is really all in. And I think about all the different players and all the different departments and the ways that they have all come together to collaborate, to communicate, to break down barriers and silos, to really benefit our students has just been magnificent. The Eastern staff and faculty really are to be commended for a great job.
All right, Josh, let's turn to your area of enrollment management, and we're taping here on September 29th. How are things looking at EIU?
Sure. I really was pleased with the outcome, considering the circumstances. I mean, there were some points in time during the enrollment cycle where I really wondered where we would land. And so being down 0.2% and still north of 8,600 students is really optimal, considering everything we were facing. I think the biggest loss for me is just freshman class wasn't where I wanted it to be. The last 3 years we've had growth in our freshman class, and I'd hoped it would be the fourth, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition, but there were some major positives that helped us hold our enrollment, and that was a 5% increase in our new incoming transfers, the second largest international enrollment that we've had ever, with 399 international students enrolled from 51 different countries. I mean, they just bring so much to the campus, and they brought
mind-blowing numbers.
Yes, absolutely mind-blowing, and huge kudos to Andy Cabaselli and his staff in the Office of International Students and Scholars, because they worked really hard to get those students here, and so that's great. And then a 2.4% increase in our graduate numbers, which are the highest overall graduate enrollment since 2007. And so some real positives despite a very difficult time and circumstances. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention new student retention. It was great to see our freshman retention, despite the pandemic, rise for a third year in a row. But I will tell you that was really due to our communal student groups, like our athletes. Their freshman retention went up over 8%. Our honors went up over 2%, and our new freshman connection program, those participants, they retained at a rate above the average, and so they really helped pull that retention rate up for a third year. And so again, I talked about that isolation and how important that community is and how evident that was for this past year, and that's a big part of it. Without those community-based programs and student groups, we wouldn't have seen that increase again this year.
It's amazing that you mention all those positive numbers during these obviously very strange times we're in. Your area, the enrollment management team at EIU, what challenges did COVID-19 present to you guys and what you do on a regular basis?
I really felt like I was in the twilight zone this past year. I mean, so many of the things that are just staples to our recruitment were just non-existent. I mean, no high school visits, no college fairs, no camps and conferences, no large-scale events. I mean, I live for those open houses and those admitted student days, and they were non-existent. And so we really had to be creative and engineer new processes, virtual events, on-demand counselor sessions, self-guided tours. I mean, there was a point in time where there were no tours happening on campus. And I mean, how do you find your fit? And how do you find your future home in college if you're not there in person? And I think just like the community and isolation piece, it just drove home how important and how significant in-person experiences are for our brand and for our prospective students and their families, to find that home, to find that support, for us to generate that relationship that so often is the critical point for that student and that family to choose EIU.
I was getting video the other day prior to our taping here, and I saw a couple tours going on. So the tours are back.
They are back, yes. This year feels much different.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh, for your comments. Eric, we've had you on more programs during the pandemic, radio and TV, than I can count. So we appreciate your perspectives and thoughts on it prior to this taping. But update us here on the current protocols here at EIU and how you guys in your area are helping serve the EIU community.
Sure. Probably the biggest game changer has been vaccinations. And with the governor's executive order, all members of our community either provide their vaccinations or they test. So there's been a lot of work in collection of the vaccinations and verification, and there's been a lot of testing. So last week we tested over 1,200 people. Since the beginning of school, we've easily done over 4,000 tests. So, you know, that's been great. It's been very helpful. Our positivity numbers have been significantly lower, much lower than what I anticipated, particularly with the Delta variant. So I'm pretty happy and satisfied with where we're at. We're beginning to see more and more people submit vaccinations as a result of the progressive discipline which has been implemented in the last 2 weeks. More people are actually testing, realizing that the institution is taking it seriously. So overall, I'm happy with the direction that we're headed, and I think we're doing things right. We're following CDC guidelines, wearing masks indoors. In some of the academic classes, they've kind of spread seats out so people that are vaccinated may be able to sit a little bit closer. Those that are not vaccinated or those that don't feel comfortable can be in seating that's a little bit more spread out. So, those are some of the new things that we're doing this year. And then a lot of the things that we did last year, we're continuing to do.
We taped our segment with the Charleston Schools administration just prior to your guys' taping that you'll see here in just a bit, and they had to have a special meeting prior to their start of the school year because of the near the start of the school years. They had some changes from the governor's office, able to react pretty swiftly and appropriately on that.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, a lot of the things that we had planned to do for this year were a great foundation, and it was just some modifications to what we had planned to do. So we were pretty well situated.
This is not a health show here on City Spotlight. We have a health program here on WEIU Being Well, but I feel like since we have you here, it's important to hear from people like you in your position during this current climate. Eric, as we are taping here at the end of September 2021, how would you assess where we are in the pandemic?
I think I'd go to one of the comments that Josh talked about. It's greatly impacted our students, and it's exacerbated a lot of issues, the isolationism. So we're seeing increases in mental health concerns and issues, and students seeking out care and services, and we're doing our best to provide clinical care and psychoeducational, and they seem pretty receptive to those services and interventions. So we'll continue to do our best to meet the need.
Okay, very good. In our final moments here on this episode and this taping here with Eric and Josh, gentlemen, obviously we're not quite to the halfway point of the fall semester here at EIU 2021. Your thoughts moving forward, and we'll start with Josh first.
Yeah, I think the most incredible thing about the start of the semester has just been the energy. I mean, these students are hungry for the college experience, and they are making the most of it. I mean, the students in my class, they're just happy and just so excited to be here. I mean, the first week activities, I showed the Board of Trustees the video that Michael Babcock put together. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, just all of the smiles and just the contentment and the joy that I've experienced on campus this semester has made it feel like days of old. I mean, you've got a smaller student population, but I feel like the energy is bigger. And so I love that. I just love that. And I think that will be something that, that we're all experiencing, something that just helps us continue to connect with the purpose of the university going forward this semester.
All right. Eric, your final thoughts moving forward?
I would agree. I think in light of COVID and all the challenges that we've had, we've been able to create a college experience that students expect and are used to. And yesterday I was walking on campus and I was just reflecting on how many students were out and about and walking up and down, and it was just really nice and refreshing to see that. It really felt like, yes, we're part of a college campus, and this is what it's about.
Some of the video you've been seeing in this episode, I was out getting video for it, seeing the students walking from class to class there over by the quad, the union, the book, the library. It was a pleasant sight to see. Very good. Thank you, Eric and Josh, for all that you do here at Eastern Illinois, and thank you for coming back on City Spotlight. We appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And coming up next here on City Spotlight, we'll change locations and talk with administrators from the Charleston School District. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Charleston. And we're back here on City Spotlight. We've changed locations for this new episode here on Charleston. We're now taping at the Charleston Schools Administration Building as we continue talking education in Charleston. We're going to talk all about Charleston Schools in this segment. And to help me out, three familiar guests to my left. On the end there, we have Dr. Todd Vilardo, Superintendent. Todd, great to see you.
Thank you very much. Glad that you made it over today, and looking forward to our time together.
Traveled a long ways to get here. We also have Chad Burgett and Kristen Holly, Assistant Superintendents.
Good morning.
Chad and Kristen, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Great to be here and get caught up on the Charleston School District. And it's been a little while since we last taped. Obviously, a lot has changed in the world since we last had you on. I'd like to get a little perspective kind of on the last school year into this year. So each of you, in whatever order who wants to go first, what's something that you each took from last school year that you've utilized going into this current new school year? So whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I would say from last school year to this school year, it's further evidence and validation of the importance of an educator in a child's life. I love computers, and we can't serve kids without parents. But we had a lot of that last year, computers and parents supporting education. But again, this pandemic has been evidence of the importance of the instruction, the inspiration that can only come from a child's educator and making a positive difference in their lives. That's one thing that has been a carryover from last year to this year.
Go to Chad next.
I would say the resiliency of the students and staff. I think nationwide it was just a difficult year. There was no correct answer. There's no magic wand. But I think the students and staff really stuck it out last year. Our teachers went well above and beyond, reaching out to parents, reaching out to students who maybe they didn't hear from. I think even our support staff or cooks, making meals and things like that. I think everybody really stepped up and made it through a difficult situation.
And lastly, Kristen.
They both took everything I was going to say. But I do think, just to echo a little bit about what they both said, I think the importance of in-person instruction was something probably people just took for granted in the past. And I think just the value of having day-to-day contact for social emotional reasons, for academic reasons with educators. I also think the resiliency, our teachers and our staff and our families and our students went above and beyond to continue their education in difficult circumstances. So I think all of that is really important in how we got through last year.
Great to hear those comments. Several similar comments across the board. All the school districts and administrators we've heard on the program over the last year. So just prior to this school year starting, we're taping here on September 20th with Todd, Chad, and Kristen. There was a special meeting held just prior to the start of school. Todd, what did that meeting, what was the purpose of that meeting?
Right, so our school term opened for staff on August 11th, and it opened for students on August 12th.
Right.
That was a Thursday. On Thursday the 12th, our board called a special meeting to discuss the governor's mask mandate. And so our board listened to many community members and held dialogue about the consequences of obeying or disregarding the governor's mask mandate, and then took no action at that time.
Okay. And this is kind of an additional question to that. I think what I've learned on this program is that every community is different, although you do have to abide by the state rules and whatnot. But talk about the uniqueness of each community, why it's important to follow what is everyone's comfortable with. Chad or Kristen?
Well, I think as each community is different within the community, you have people on both sides of the issues, whether it's mask mandate, whether students should be wearing them or not. I think we're in a tough situation where we need to follow the governor's orders as a school district or face possible consequences. And as Dr. Vilardo mentioned, the board chose no action at that time, so we move forward. I think that upset some parents, but I think on the other hand, some parents may have been relieved because they thought that's the right thing to do.
Okay, so we're taping again here on September 20th. Todd, you just mentioned when the school year started for Charleston. This could be for any of you, but I'll start with Kristen on this question here. Your overall thoughts on how these first 4 to 5 weeks of school have gone?
They've gone exceptionally well. I think going back to the resilience, what we talked about, our students have been really resilient. They're happy to be back in school in person for full days. Our teachers are happy to be back full days. We had a very successful summer school program. So I think the focus for this year has been really on just recovering some of that learning loss from last year, building relationships with students again, just getting to know students personally, not starting the school year behind a computer. I think everyone appreciates that a lot more. We've had a really successful start. We've been able to talk about some exciting curriculum changes and kind of what we say, the fun stuff in education again a little bit, getting a little bit back to where we were prior to COVID.
Absolutely. Either of you want to add to that?
I just enjoy visiting the schools and seeing the children and the staff interacting. And we just had some ball games this weekend. I got to enjoy middle school softball and baseball.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see the kids playing, the parents out cheering them on, the coaches, and they advance. So we're going to get to see more of that this week as well.
Some successful athletics there, and I have a little one at home that benefited from the summer school, so thank you very much. All right, so you guys have probably all already stated this, but what have you learned about, you used the word resiliency, but what have you talked about that with the students, what have you learned about your staff during all this?
The resiliency applies to them as well. I don't think anybody, of course, no one saw this coming, and no one saw that how remote learning was going to be used. We had teachers that were incredibly challenged by what remote learning was, and our teachers not only they stepped to the plate, they went above and beyond it. They reached out to families, they went to homes to visit students, to check on their well-being. We had teachers doing more than any of us could have ever imagined for them during last year. So we are incredibly proud of our staff, and not just teachers, but as they mentioned, support staff and our bus drivers and our cooks and our secretaries and our administrators. I mean, just everybody stepped way above and beyond to meet the needs of students.
I have a child that rides the Charleston school bus, and I can't imagine driving a bus with a mask on and everything and all those kids. So it's quite a chore for all people involved. Let's get into the physical changes going on in the Charleston School District, because I think they're very visual. One of them happened a while back, being an alumnus of the Charleston School District, seeing the blackened Charleston High School parking lot is very refreshing. Tell us about that project, and also whoever wants to talk about what's going on over at Charleston Middle School right now.
Sure. That was one of our parking lots at the high school are dire need of replacement, and we started with that first phase. And it looks great. We added new lighting out front. We added lighting to the building, so I think that campus is really starting to take shape. Also going on at the high school right now, we're renovating the band and chorus rooms, replacing the roof there and air conditioning. So those students will have something to look forward to. That project should be completed mid-October. Okay. The students and teachers have been very patient as they've been displaced and not in those rooms. We're looking right now at plans of redoing the auditorium, the Swickard Auditorium. That would be about a $2 million project. Wow. So in the fine arts, we've invested about $3 million in renovating those spaces, which I think not only will be good for the students, but the community who use those spaces as well. New lights, new sound system, paint, chairs, it'll look really nice. A
lot of people have utilized that auditorium through the years.
I'm anxious to get the music boosters in there when it's completed to have their booster club meeting there. I think that would be nice. Also moving, you mentioned the Charleston Middle School, replacing the roof there. Yes. That's been a big project, and it's been a little noisy for for the students and teachers.
It's going on right now.
It's going on right now, but that was much needed. Looking forward to next summer, we're looking to finish the parking lots at the middle school, and then also possibly begin our ag building renovation. So that ties into career and tech education. We're revamping that program. We're looking to add a greenhouse, so a lot of excitement going on facility-wise. Last year we were fortunate enough to renovate our science labs. We're moving on to fine arts, and now we're moving into the CTE program. So at Charleston High School, a lot going on right now.
It is an older building, I believe. Outside the building says 1953. So
yes,
yeah, you got to attend to those older buildings. Just a couple of minutes left with all three of you. Thank you so much for your time getting caught up on Charleston Schools. Each of you, if you'd like to say something to the parents and community of Charleston moving forward in this school year, what's something you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, I think that the pandemic circumstances certainly can bring us down and slow us down in many ways, but as you heard from Mr. Burgett, we're still excited about a lot of innovations in our district, not only with facilities, which is really, really exciting, and we can't do that work without the support of the community and the 1% sales tax. But we're also looking forward to continuing a lot of the instructional initiatives that we started. such as competency-based education. I'm just really excited about what the future holds for Charleston School District, for our community, and especially for the kids. Mrs. Holly can talk about competency-based education and some of the other initiatives that we're really looking forward to.
Okay, we'll go down the line with Chad.
Yeah, I would simply say thank you for your patience. This has been a trying year for everyone, and Mrs. Holly mentioned resiliency. You know, especially with technology, we added one-to-one. We went one-to-one last year, and typically districts would spend a year or longer preparing for that. We had 2,000 laptops in hands the first quarter last year, with not a lot of time to prepare for those. So our tech
I
department.
had 3 of them in my house.
So a lot of technology we had to learn on our end, but parents as well. If you're not used to having a 3rd grader on a computer at home, it takes a lot of work. So I want to just say thanks for your patience, and if they could just hang in there a little bit longer until we get through this, that would be wonderful.
Hold on, Kristen.
Yeah, patience was the word I was going to use as well. I think I'm a parent too, and I realized that would have been a considerable challenge no matter how old the student is, to try to be, most parents don't sign up to be the teacher, let alone learn the technology and learn and empower our new learning management system and try to communicate with staff in a different way. I just think we appreciate the ongoing patience and support that the parents have offered to us, and the grace that people have offered during such difficult times. I agree. Thank you for patience and kindness. We appreciate it very much.
Well said, and couldn't end this interview any better. Dr. Todd Vilardo, Chad Burgett, and Kristen Holly of the Charleston School District, thank you so much for your time, taking a few minutes to talk with us about Charleston schools, and good luck the rest of the school year.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Thank you so
Certainly.
much.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. And that'll do it for this latest City Spotlight episode on Charleston. We've been on location. Thanks for watching. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.